Good evening. Welcome to the live stream of the Dorchester School District 2 Board of Trustees December 14th board meeting. These meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month and always provide useful information regarding the operation of our district and schools. These meetings are also recorded and posted at dd2.org/live. Before the meeting begins, you'll want to note these important updates. The arts are alive and well in DD2. The district is proud to offer a quality fine arts program at each of our schools. In addition, Rawlings Middle School of the Arts is our fine and performing arts school that is dedicated to nurturing artistically inclined students in grades 6 through 8. Also conveniently located on the RMSA campus is the state-of-the-art Summers Corner Performing Arts Center that serves our schools and community. Here is a glimpse of Fort Dorchester High School's photography program that gives flight to their students' creativity and talent.
I went to this park in downtown Somerville, and I took shots of somebody's face in different angles, and I had them look away and I had them do different facial expressions, and I took pictures of their face, different parts, their mouth, their nose, their eyes, and I kind of mushed it together so it kind of looks like a face, but you get these different expressions and these different parts of them.
So this picture I took about a year ago, downtown Somerville. It was right behind Main Street where all these really big old school houses are, white picket fences, the typical stuff that you picture of Main Street, USA. And I saw this house, white picket fence out front, screened in porch. It was painted white wood on the sides. And there was this tire swing hanging down from this big oak tree. And I just thought it was so cool. And I just hit the button. It was the last picture on the roll. And I came home and processed the roll a couple days later and I printed it. It's on display right now at a gallery in downtown Somerville, right near where it was shot.
I competed in a competition called the Soil and Water Conservation Practices competition, and that focuses on giving young students a chance to have a photography competition to participate in, and it lets you take pictures of conservation practices to show how your community is conserving areas instead of destroying it and building there. So I competed in that competition and I won on the district and national level.
We are all looking forward to a much-needed winter break. As a reminder, Friday, December 18th is a half-day e-learning instructional day from home. Please be sure to be on the lookout for additional details from your student's teacher and school. Winter break is December 21st through January 1st. Students will return to school on Monday, January 4th. Please visit dd2.org/calendar to view district calendars. Enjoy the holiday break with a free Home for the Holidays meal pack. All students are eligible to receive a Home for the Holidays meal pack. Students must be present or the registered placard should be displayed at the time of pickup. Meal pack includes breakfast and lunch for 13 days, board and milk, and a variety of fruits and vegetables. Holiday meal packs will be distributed on December 22nd from 9 a.m. until noon at Oak Brook and DuBose Middle Schools while supplies last. Thank you for joining us this evening, and make sure to follow us on the Dorchester District 2 Facebook page at Team DD2. We wish you all a safe and happy holiday season.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being a part of our board meeting this evening. And for those of you who are listening, thank you, and watching from your homes. We appreciate you taking time to do this. This will be our very last board meeting for the year 2020, and I think everybody's relieved. It's been a crazy year, and I know we're looking forward to next year with a lot of new hopeful things in store for us. I will entertain a motion from the board to amend the agenda this evening consistent with section 30-4-80 of the FOIA to add a discussion action item immediately following the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the meeting regarding a board member's communications with a community member and the related communications, and that the board finds this amendment to the agenda is necessary based on emergency and exigent circumstances that exist regarding the matter.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Hughes made the motion. Mr. Mitchum second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. Thank you. We'll turn the time over to Mr. Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Monday. If anyone would like to, please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Lord, we join together tonight again during unprecedented times like none any of us have ever seen before, during a time when your wisdom and guidance are needed more than ever. We understand that we are called on to lead from a place of deep reverence and know that the burdens upon us shall one day pass. Lord, we know we must be strong in the face of uncertainty and forge a path forward for all of those under our care. Above all else, we are thankful. We are thankful for the amazing people you have placed here in our district. We are thankful for our first responders, military members, and frontline workers across the globe who sacrifice everything so that we may meet here tonight in freedom. We are thankful for your many blessings. In your name we pray. Amen. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to make a motion for board members to approve issuing the following statement that I would like to read as our chairman. First, I would like to say that we have a very strong board and we have a very caring board. And sometimes things just happen and we have to address those things. So, to the members of our school family and to our community, I would like to address a recent situation that has been at the center of many social media sites, as well as a topic of conversation this past week. It involves a Facebook post written by one of our board members, Mrs. Crosby. Due to the improper and unprofessional content of the post, I will not read it in this public forum. As your elected Board of Trustees, we would like to present a statement in regard to these comments as follows. We do not condone or support the comments or viewpoints expressed by Ms. Crosby in her recent Facebook post. Further, we find the comments to be unprofessional and not in keeping with the reputation our board wishes to maintain with the community we serve. As trustees, it is imperative that we each build trust, work together, and continue our efforts in building a world-class educational environment. We do understand as elected public officials, the standards we hold ourselves to must be above reproach of wrongdoing of any kind that negatively affects our fellow board members or our school district. We want our school family and community to know that a single board member elected by the community may have differing viewpoints, not indicative of the board's view as a whole. We understand that emotions are heightened because of the current pandemic that is impacting us all. It has been an experience we have never lived before. As we look ahead, still unsure of what the immediate future will hold, we must all focus on being the best possible examples as the children of our community are watching and listening. We are affecting them more than we know. In conclusion, as we move forward, the Board of Trustees would like to commit to work with our district leadership in building positive relations. We know that together we will continue to be successful.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. It was seconded by Ms. Hughes. Is there a discussion? All those in favor, oh, yes, ma'am. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Now, at this time, it is only fair that Ms. Crosby also be able to make a statement, and at this time, we have talked, and she has asked if she could.
I'm deeply sorry for allowing my emotions to override my ability to act in a professional manner, and hope everyone will accept this sincere apology. It has been a difficult time for everyone, and emotions can get in the way of being courteous. Again, I'm very sorry.
Thank you so much, Ms. Crosby, and I feel that we can move forward and move on from here. It is time for public comments on our agenda, and we have Ms. Ashley Figueredo, and if she is here, would she come forward?
Good evening. Members of the board in Dorchester District 2 community. My name is Ashley Figueredo. I'm a third grade virtual academy teacher at Alston Bailey Elementary and a parent to 2 high schoolers at Ashley Ridge. I'm also a member of the South Carolina Education Association. I, along with many other students, parents, and teachers across the district, are extremely disappointed that the plan that was presented, voted on, and implemented is not being followed. The DD2 website currently states that high-risk disease activity equals e-learning with school buildings closed for students. Parents and teachers made decisions for the safety of their families and themselves based off of this plan, and now it seems that the plan is being manipulated. While districts all around our state move to an e-learning model, our DD2 school board is discussing having student populations return in their entirety after break. Follow the plan. Over and over again, I hear people saying that learning virtually does not work. I assure you, my virtual academy students are learning and growing. My students' data reflects growth parallel to face-to-face data from last year. The South Carolina December 12th overnight figure for new COVID cases was 3,047 and 12 new deaths. That's one day. According to Dr. Brandon Traxler, the interim director of public health for the Department of Health and Environmental Control, it will be months before there's enough vaccine available for everyone. She continued to say, South Carolina, like many other states, is currently experiencing a worsening of this pandemic, and it is incumbent and up to all of us to continue to take actions aimed at saving lives. Dr. Traxler went on to recommend people limit contact with those outside their household. The approved plan gave educators the confidence to return to the classroom in the middle of a pandemic, trusting that the school board would remain true to the plan. The board made a decision to keep every teacher and student safe to the best of their ability by following the voted upon plan. With rising COVID rates, why would we now be put in jeopardy by going back to full capacity in a face-to-face model? The board is sending mixed messages to students, parents, and teachers when we are told we will be kept safe and that there's a plan, but the plan is not followed as COVID rates continue to climb. Some questions I'm hoping each of you consider tonight before making this critical decision. Why aren't we sticking to the plan? Who are we truly making this decision for? How will all demographics be affected by our decision? Is there equity in the choice we are making, or are we making the popular choice? The right decision is not always the easy one. Face-to-face learning is important to all of us. I would give anything to be in the same room as my students each and every day. But their safety has to be our top priority. I miss celebrating their academic victories alongside them, the high fives, the morning chats before class. But we've been given the privilege to care for these children each and every day, and sometimes that means we as teachers have to modify the normal in order to ensure that each and every student has the best chance for success. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jason Brockert.
Good evening, board members. First, I would like to say thank you for all of the monumental efforts that have been put forth. As we've already said, we've already heard, it's been a huge effort, right? A lot of planning went into it. We appreciate that. I'd like to advocate, as before, for the teachers that I know that are concerned about their classrooms and the families that are taking this seriously, and they are concerned about themselves and their extended families that they do visit. Knowing that this is very divisive, we have camps deeply entrenched on both sides. It's very political, right? It's very emotionally charged. We need to respect everybody's opinions, everybody's stances equally. Not to rehash all of the data, the meeting on Thursday was very good. We've been presented with facts and figures. People have made their own assumptions off of facts and figures. It cannot be denied that the current trends are getting higher. They are nearing and or exceeding, depending on your individual location, the spread that we saw in the summer. As it was stated, proper use of PPE has been very effective in the medical community. Proper use of PPE is very different in the medical community than it is in the average community, in our classrooms, with our teachers, with our children. So it needs to be on a risk analysis basis. It really can be simplified. What is the opportunity and what is the severity? Obviously, the severity is very much on the far end. The current hybrid plan is very sound. We have implemented it and found that there are some holes. It does not suit everybody, but it does suit the vast majority of the parents and teachers that I've spoken with that have children that are thriving in the hybrid model, in the virtual model, at home, and at home developing critical skills for today's world. We have people that are working from home that have not been to the office for months. They have to have these skills to continue to succeed. This is no different than what our children are going through. So we've gotten surveys and responses from the teachers, and that's shown itself in Thursday's meeting. We all know where that went. I feel it's incumbent to also get the opinions from the parents and the communities, and I know that that is a large task, but that data needs to be evaluated and acted upon, right? The board cannot make these decisions in a vacuum, and we all have a voice that needs to be heard and respected. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Wallace, are you here?
Good evening, school board members. My name is Laura Wallace, and I'm a third grade teacher at Span Elementary in my 4th year of teaching. I come in front of you today to express the concern I and many teachers have in response to the motion presented to bring all students back to school for face-to-face instruction. If you would, please look closely at the pictures that are handed to you. I took these pictures while sitting in student desks around my classroom after the installation of plexiglass and the request for us to move our students into groups to prepare for full face-to-face instruction. The call for students to return to face-to-face is largely based on the need for students to return to a state of normalcy. As you can see, this is not a normal classroom. We cannot set the unrealistic goal of having students return to normal when we are still experiencing a global pandemic. Many students in my room struggle to see the board, make eye contact with me, or speak loud enough for me to hear them due to the plexiglass. It is hard for me to understand how this school setting is any more normal than having my students simply spaced 6 feet apart on a half-day schedule. If all students were to return face-to-face, they would be stuck sitting in these plexiglass cubicles for the entire school day, only to be allowed to move to use the restroom or for a 20-minute recess break where they're not even allowed to touch the playground equipment. In addition, a large part of the argument for us to return to full face-to-face instruction revolves around the fact that the CDC has stated that children and teens are less likely to experience symptoms of COVID-19. However, if you read the CDC's information carefully, it states children can be infected with, get sick from, and spread the virus that causes COVID-19 to others. Children, like adults, who have COVID-19 but have no symptoms can still spread the virus to others. The others that they can spread the virus to include all school staff. In fact, DHEC has traced 5,279 cases to school staff and students who have attended in-person activities. From December 4th to December 11th, DHEC reported a 35% increase of positive COVID-19 cases in Dorchester County alone. If the main concern is that the students are missing out on some of their education due to the current hybrid model, I'm forced to think about all the instruction that they will miss out on due to their teacher being hospitalized with complications due to contracting COVID-19 from one of the students. This could be a very real possibility for my students, as their pregnant teacher is much more likely to become seriously ill from contracting COVID-19. They would then be forced to try their best to learn from a substitute teacher, which is already hard to come by during a normal year. I'm not the only teacher with these health concerns. Many teachers decided not to teach virtually because we felt safe with the plan that was unanimously voted into action on July 20th that allowed for flexibility in our mode of instruction based on the spread of the virus. The current motion to return to full face-to-face instruction disregards the health and safety of the teachers, staff members, and students. If your concern is for the children's education, then you should do everything you can to keep their teachers in the classroom with them every day to continue their education. That is the most normalcy that we can expect at this time. If we care about our students' education, then we must first care about their health and safety and the health and safety of their educators. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nicole Stewart.
All right, good evening, board members. Thank you for allowing me to have a chance to speak tonight. I'm gonna stick to my paper here, so I'm an emotional speaker, so I'm gonna read off my paper. My name is Nicole Stewart. I'm a 6th grade teacher at Oak Brook Middle School. I'm currently teaching social studies and science for the Virtual Academy in DD2. I've been teaching for 24 years, 15 of them at OMS here in DD2. I was asked by many to come and speak and be the voice for them, as some fear backlash from coming to speak from those in their community. There are many teachers in our community that have been bullied, called names, made fun of, had their reputations smeared, and their intentions as a decent human being questioned recently. I personally was asked myself where I taught in the school, where my daughter went to school in the district. Why does that matter? All because I had a difference of opinion. I've listened and researched all the data, but I'm here to speak from my heart and tell you where most teachers stand. I'm certainly not speaking for every teacher, but I know many of them who have talked with me and expressed their similar feelings. I love this district. I love these kids. I love these parents. And I know that these are hard times for everybody. What has been the hardest thing to watch is watching myself and my peers literally working 60+ hours a week, working nights, weekends, in the doctor's office, in the car, riding with my husband to the grocery store, watching us work ourselves into serious illnesses like high blood pressure, anxiety, and losing a lot of teachers that were really essential to the district. Teachers out there want normal, if there's any such thing anymore, more than anyone in this equation, I promise. We are on the daily called lazy, self-serving, selfish, uncaring, and just today on the Somerville Sentinel, we were referred to as, I quote, sociopathic, self-interested, that we are putting ourselves before the children, and if we don't want the kids back face-to-face, we're saying that because we are saying children and adults will die. So I love teaching and bonding with relationships with kids and their parents, as most teachers I know. Not one teacher I know doesn't want to get back to teaching and bonding with the kids, but not at the cost of anyone's health, not a child, not an adult. I've watched my wonderful and supportive admin bend and bend and bend to try to accommodate every child, parent, and teacher who needs different things. I'm just so hurt by the things that are being said to some of us, of the most kindest, most hardest working people that I know. We've done so on our own dime. The only thing we were given for e-learning to teach was a clip-on webcam. That was it. Everything else I paid for, my husband paid for, out of our pocket. But I do it for the kids. We all do it for the kids. That's what it's about. I see everyone's side, and I'm not just a teacher. I'm also a wife and the mother of a high school freshman who is also in hybrid and is struggling. But it is my job as her parent to help her and guide her. And if reteaching is necessary, then that too. Every teacher she has at her school has tried to offer help for her, and they have been great with returning emails and contacting me when needed. Teachers have been begging parents and community for years to help us lobby. Oops, sorry. Okay. Well, I just want you guys to know we've begged and begged for help for overcrowding and underfunded schools, and no one took us seriously.
Thank
and I
you.
feel like that's the reason we're not back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Janelle Gadson.
Good evening. My name is Janelle Gadson. I'm a virtual academy parent. My son is in the 3rd grade at Alston Bailey Elementary School, and my other son is in kindergarten at Alston Bailey Elementary School. And I must say that this virtual experience, even though it was a lot of unknowns before we got started with it, has been the best experience that I've had as a parent in the DD2 school so far. My son has went from his reading level, been struggling since the first grade, second grade, till now being in the virtual academy. He has excelled, he's soared. From his grades at leap year to what he's at right now, he's already surpassed the goal that he needs for the third grade. And that's something that we've never, as a family, thought we would see in him, honestly. And we've worked really hard. I'm a teacher myself, not in the primary schools. I teach at Trident Technical College, and so I know that it's difficult as a teacher. Even though it's not younger children, I still have students. We had to go to online. We had to switch from being inside the classroom to turning all of our labs and everything into an online environment. And so I understand the difficulties that are involved with doing that. But I must say that if you have teachers that are supported, and they have the support of not only the parents but their district, they have been really passionate about making sure that this experience is as positive as possible. And like I said, my experience has been the best since we started in DD2. So I definitely understand both sides as far as what's going to be best for the students and for the teachers. I see both sides. But as a parent that's in the virtual, it's not as bad as we may think it is. It's actually a really great experience, and my son, like I said, has done way better than he had when he was in a face-to-face setting. So it's possible. It's all about the support the teachers have. It's all about how much communication is being given and how much they can trust what the district is doing. And I believe that that makes them more passionate about what they're doing as well. And so I just want to be able to share my experience as a parent, and definitely want us to consider the virtual, the e-learning, as being a positive thing. It's not all a bad thing. And teachers have been very creative to even get the children socializing. Just last week, my son was so excited that he, during his lunchtime, was able to watch the Charlie Brown Christmas with his other students during lunchtime. Like, that's okay to do. They can still find fun things, and they chatted and they ate their lunch together and they watched it, because that's what his teacher did as something creative to get them to bond and to be able to see each other and talk to each other outside of the learning time. So I definitely believe that we can make this work if they have the support that they need from the parents and from the district.
Thank you. Ms. Rayner has handed me quite a few, and so if it's okay with the board, I do have the authority to extend public comments for 20 minutes. Is that agreeable? Ms. Rayner, will you keep track for me? There's still, but I would like to do that. Okay, our next one is Caitlin Stevens.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Stevens, and I am a 5th grade teacher at Oak Brook Elementary. In my classroom, I encourage my students to not just be a silent observer, but to take action and speak up when they encounter something that they disagree with. Leading by example, I am here to make my own voice heard. Currently, we're being faced with a virus that has an extremely wide range of effects, from no symptoms at all, to long-term health implications, to death. Nobody knows what to expect. If I become infected with COVID-19, will I be fine? Will I die? We can quote statistics, but there remains the non-zero possibility that the worst could occur, even given my health and age range. When the board states that the goal is to put students back into school full-time, no matter the data outside of the 4 walls of the school, that tells me that you do not value me. You do not value me as an employee, and you do not value me as a person. You are telling me that both my job and my life are expendable. Everyone knows that teachers do not get into this profession for the money. We do it for the kids, for the passion of teaching, and to pass on the things that we value most to be able to change our community and our society. Already, society asks us to work more, be paid less, take on multiple roles, and even be prepared to defend our students against school shootings, amongst many, many other things. Now, to add insult to a list of injuries that grow year by year, you are now asking us to risk our lives for our students. I have taken every reasonable precaution I could to keep myself and my family safe during this pandemic. I haven't eaten inside of a restaurant since March. My main outings have been to the grocery store and the hardware store. I stayed home for Thanksgiving, and I have canceled my travel plans to see family for Christmas. I've even participated in a clinical vaccine trial for COVID-19 in an attempt to keep myself and my family safe. All of those sacrifices mean nothing if you bring COVID-19 right to my doorstep every school day. I do appreciate that plexiglass panels have been set up in classrooms in an attempt to make a safer environment for all. After reading scientific articles on the topic, I am not convinced that the panels are anything more than safety theater. My students find that the panels are difficult to work with, having too little room to even open their binders and preventing them from clearly seeing the front of the room. It just doesn't work. I find it offensive that a conception exists that educational outcomes are not being met in my class. In my classroom, I meet with each and every student on a one-on-one basis every day. The fact that they are indeed learning is proven by the steady growth of their MI and RI scores, which are right on track for their grade level. I cover all of my standards. Students' behavior have also shown an incredible improvement this year with our current model. So far this year, OES has seen discipline referrals drop by 83%. Yes, 83%. This allows me to focus more on my students' education. The hybrid model is actually an improvement regardless of the pandemic. The board does not have the luxury of being indifferent to my life and the lives of my friends and coworkers.
Thank
a decision that would
Your time
endanger
is
us
up.
is unacceptable.
Thank you. Next, we have Deniselanders.
Good evening to the board and those in attendance. My name is Deniselanders. I am a second grade teacher at William Reeves Elementary School. I was teacher of the year 2011-2012. This is my 32nd year in the classroom. I come before you tonight to express my concern for going back face-to-face in the classroom during the rise of the COVID-19 cases. While everyone agrees that face-to-face instruction is the most effective for the children, I believe that it's important that we closely follow and listen to the science regarding the pandemic. I have heard a great deal of conversation about the survival rates. However, some of those who quote these survival rates fail to understand the long-term impact this virus has for some that have been infected. Unfortunately, there are still people in our community who refuse to take precautions to help mitigate the virus. This virus has directly impacted my family. In April, my mother-in-law succumbed to the virus within 10 days of being diagnosed. I am a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and my immune system is permanently compromised due to chemotherapy treatment. In addition, my husband is considered high risk, so we take all precautions to ensure that we are not infected. If we return face-to-face January 4th, I will not be returning. How unfortunate this will be for my class that has learned to know, trust, and love me during this time that we have been together. I have dedicated 32 years of great service to a career that I love. And with only 1 year left until I retire, I feel that it is unfair for me and others to have to make heartbreaking decisions like the one I am making because some are not, in my opinion, looking out for what is best to keep teachers and students safe at this time. I am not only speaking for myself, I am here as a voice for the many dedicated teachers who are concerned that going face-to-face will affect them. There are teachers with pre-existing health conditions, teachers who are pregnant, and many like me who feel as if this community is ignoring their concerns. Again, the focus on the children of the district is important, but so are the lives of everyone in the district. I just ask that you reconsider the timing and continue to look at the data to determine when it is safe for all to return face-to-face. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sharon Wilmarth.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm a mom to a second grader and to a sixth grader. My husband is a teacher in the district, and I am also in my 19th year of teaching, although not in DD2. I am one of those parents that have lost a great deal of my income during this school year. I have had to cut my teaching hours by more than half so that I can be home when my children are home. My income is important to my family. Since my husband is a teacher, we struggle to support our family on his income alone, despite the fact that he has a master's with 19 years of experience and works 3 other part-time jobs to support his teaching income. However, my loss of income does not come before the well-being of my family. My children are learning. My daughter may only attend 2 hours and 45 minutes each day, but that time is focused on instruction with little to no movement in and out of the classroom. With only 8 students in her cohort, her teacher can give each student the individual attention that should be taking place with differentiated instruction. During her e-learning time, she is doing math and reading on her specific level for each content area. My son's middle school schedule is also working well. On his days home, he is still able to email questions to his teachers, and most have been excellent at responding quickly, even though they are still teaching in person. His math grade at the beginning of the year did hit a rough patch, but he was able to meet with his teacher in person during ILT and on Fridays during his e-learning, and his grade improved dramatically. Please do not be swayed by loud voices telling you that hybrid is a bad plan for everyone. Overcrowding classrooms with our children and eliminating social distancing is a bad plan for everyone. Believing that all parents will keep their exposed or symptomatic children at home and not send them to school is a bad plan for everyone. Relying on plexiglass boxes edged in blue tape that distort and inhibit our children's view of their teacher and smartboard is a bad plan for everyone. Just today in the Post and Courier, an aerosol scientist from Washington University is quoted as saying, "There's no evidence that plexiglass works as well as masking and distancing." A school is not an island. Our common sense tells us that this higher community spread will result in more cases in our schools, and transmission in our schools will return back to our community. I made my decision to allow my children to be face-to-face because I trusted you with my family. I believed that you would follow the plan as it was laid out. You have already compromised by remaining in hybrid when the community spread is high. Please do not compromise any further. I understand that we are tired and we all just want school to go back to normal. I'm tired of paying my mortgage, but it's not gone. I have multiple autoimmune diseases that I'm very tired of, but that doesn't mean they're gone. And at this moment, this pandemic is not gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Karima Hines, is she here?
I'm going to start speaking now since I'm a long-winded speaker. Hello, board members and those faculty that's in their respectful places. I was here once before, and since then things have drastically changed. That being said, my prayers to those that has been exposed or affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to know the plans for our return after Christmas break, and hopefully all take into consideration the impact of our children's safety, and well as the other faculty members, teachers, custodians, cafeteria workers, and our DD2 drivers and monitors. And knowing we are hearing other districts getting bonuses, incentives, we're here, we are not being offered anything as an incentive for the double backs, double routes, being done faithfully every day. Hopefully, there's something that I said to help or allow us to come together as one. DD2, that of a family I once knew. It takes more than the few that is willing and able, and may I say sacrificing our well-being to do what we do daily. Not to forget, I thank you, those at KES, for the gratitude of appreciation, and know I will continue to do the best as a parent, driver, to continue to safely get my children to and from home to school. But we surely would like more support and being on board the family I once knew of at DD2. With that being said, I also would like to let you know I do have a child that attends AR, the virtual. With her experience, it has been a few mishaps, but yet improved with the help of the teachers and the guidance counselors. And another thing, may I thank Ms. Matthews for the effort and the work that she's putting in with her staff to get the children on board. Some of the children are having issues, some are not. I'm lucky to know that my child is improved and she's doing her best. And I just wanted to thank y'all. And from the last time that I was here, it's kind of been a lot of mishaps. I just want to also let y'all know that Steve has even stepped up a lot with communicating, trying to put the information out there that y'all are giving him. But we still would like to know, as drivers and monitors, on the incentives, is there going to be any more changes and not last minute changes? So I hope there's something that I said that would just keep y'all aboard of just not only the children or your teachers, but you know, we're the drivers, we're there, and we would like to know that we got y'all support as well. I thank you, and I pray and ask God to protect each and every one of us. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Philip Hall.
Okay, thank you. I've been here before, I spoke many times, you know my opinion, you know I believe our children, the right thing to do is have them face-to-face 5 days a week. Before I start speaking about that though, I just want to want to thank you, Mrs. Crosby, for your apology. I don't think you needed to do it. I think that it was completely, here's the thing, I hear teachers in here complaining about being attacked, being called this, I have not seen a person attacked more than Barbara Crosby, because she has been willing to stand up for the parents and the children of this district, the parents that can't be here tonight. Boy, I'll tell you, teachers come out in numbers when they threaten to bring you back 5 days a week, don't you? I think the biggest virus in this country is the teachers' unions and those that support them. And I'm going to tell you right now, our children need you back 5 days a week. And she knows that, and I believe Ashley's is a fresh breath there on the board, because she's following the science, listening to doctors, which is the thing to do. But when Ms. Crosby has made points on this board before, Justin, yourself, and if you don't believe me, you can ask her, Mr. Pye, have attacked her. So if she can be attacked, then she could be harassed by somebody out here. Somebody in the community has been harassing her for 6 months or more and attacking her. Do y'all know that? Have y'all defended her about that? No, she's been doing this on her own. She's the only former teacher on the board, and you don't want to listen to her. And the teachers think that they should dictate to her what should be done. She's fighting for the students and the parents, and she's trying to do the right thing for this district, and thank you for that, Mrs. Crosby. But yes, back to the CDC recommended that their total infections now is actually 118 million. They underestimated, which that would make the fatality rate 0.2%. You already hear the excuses. They don't want to go back face to face. Now you got the plexiglass. Oh, the plexiglass is not good enough. What's it going to be? What's the excuse going to be when the vaccines come out? Not good enough? Kids are doing great at home virtually, right? You know kids are at home cheating. So what happens when they go back to school? Because parents can't watch them 24/7, because parents have to work. Parents have a job to do. Just today, received messages, again, kids trying to get on, kids frustrated, kids crying because they can't get on. Kids at home are on break, that are on virtual, are constantly on break. It has been said by doctor after doctor, kids are at extremely low risk of passing this on to adults. It has been said that continuously it is detrimental and becoming more detrimental mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually for these kids to not be in school 5 days a week. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Children need to be in school 5 days a week. They need a routine more than adults do. Are you going to fail kids that fail, that don't make it through this year? You damn well shouldn't, because you're failing them. If you have an underlying disease, that's one thing. But if you don't, get in school and do right by our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Jordan Hill, are you here? Jordan Hall.
Thank you all very much for having us. I've also been here several times before too to address the board. I'm here and I'm a very well supporter of 5 days face-to-face for our children. We have 3 children who also attend DD2. We have an elementary, middle, and high school, so we see it all around. We have been through multiple issues, and I understand with some parents this works great, and for some students it does, and that's wonderful. I want the absolute best for every child in DD2. It's why we moved to this district. However, our children aren't doing great. We work full-time. We have 3 children. We are doing the best that we absolutely can. We're staying up late just like every other parent. We're waking up early. Grades are not being entered before midterm reports, before report cards that aren't entered until after the fact. We're not able to get into certain classes. There have been periods now, classes that actually we've not been able to enter. And then I get a phone call at night stating our child has been vacant from the class when he wasn't. I was right there with him. We couldn't get into the classroom. We were unable to get a hold of the teachers. A teacher literally told me she was unaware if my child was in her classroom. That's ridiculous. You know, again, even though it's working for some, that's wonderful, it's not working for all. And we were told that we would have an option. We don't have an option. Once that option is made in January for children to start going back, which we are very grateful for, and I think this will make an amazing push with children, it doesn't need to be brought back, and the amount of children that will be in the classroom will be less anyway. $33 million went to plexiglass, and that's all I'm hearing tonight is that that's not good enough. We're still right back to it. With the time that I have, I'd also like to address the Ms. Crosby issue, and I think it needs to be because I as well am on all of the groups, Somerville Sentinel, I am on Concerned Citizens of Somerville. Please go on and join. We have seen the harassment and the disgusting attitude towards Ms. Crosby that has not stopped. And as of this morning, we are now getting hit with another one from the same individual from Friday night's Channel 4 News. Her ABC News 4, where she brought in the information that Ms. Crosby posted on there, and now she's being slammed that she hacked her Facebook account. That's how the unstable parent that we're dealing with here. But nobody seems to look at that.
Okay.
So we want to bring it aware that that is something that needs to be addressed for all parents in general.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
I still have 21 seconds.
Okay, well, let's be cognizant of the things that we're saying.
I'm letting everyone aware of what's happening.
Okay. No. We need to be cognizant of being respectful. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything about anybody, just everybody needs to be. And yes, you can add that 20 seconds if you would like to.
I got the idea. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bob Gregg.
Hi, everybody. I've never been at a Board of Education meeting in my life. I'm a bus driver. I've been here for a year and a half. I have a fellow bus driver that just spoke. And I'm not going to get into the teaching or what's right or what's wrong. All I want to say is that people are taking pop shots at our management in the bus company. And I'm very saddened by this. Steve is doing a great job. Tyra, Gina, Dawn, Michelle, the girls in dispatch. That's a very, very tough job. And I was on was it Channel 5 News? I didn't even see it, where they were complaining that the kids weren't getting picked up. I mean, what do these people have to do? Go watch Netflix? And really, it's a shame. This company, this bus management company is excellent. That's all I would like to say. And they deserve not pop shots, but really they deserve a compliment. They care about the students. If I'm out, somebody's covering my route. Somebody's covering this route, covering that route. So the children are getting to school, and I'm just very saddened on some of the comments that I've seen. It's terrible. This is a very, very hard time. People should be kind and understanding, and your prayer was very good in the beginning. I appreciate that we are on unprecedented times. We need our God, and I know that many of our bus drivers pray in the morning that we get there safely. We pray for the children, and we want only the best. And I just wanted to say thank you to my management. I'm not getting anything for this. I'm not getting a paycheck. I'm 64 years old. I don't care. You couldn't give me Gina's job. You couldn't give me Steve's job. They're doing a great job. I just wanted to say that to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, we don't respond to public comments, but we have gained much information because of public comments, and I hope that we will always be able to have those here in DD2. It is of the utmost importance, and there are a lot of opinions, but we do need to hear them all. I need, at this time, for a motion to approve the regular minutes of November 23rd, 2020.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Guthrie. And Ms. Crosby has seconded. Is there discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. It is unanimous. Now, under new business, we have our very own Sammy Miller, who's been with us for over 41 or 43 years, and he and Mike Wyndham are going to give us a skip report this evening.
Good evening. I'd just like to say it's a pleasure for us to have Sammy Miller here from Dorchester Alcohol and Drug. I haven't been here 40 years with Sammy, but I've been here over 30 years with Sammy, working with the SKIP program in our district. It has gotten stronger, and they do a great job helping us keep some of our kids in school, helping them solve some of their problems. And it's time for us to sign our contract this year. And I'm happy to have Sammy here to give a little presentation on what we're doing, and maybe we can get this contract signed for him.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Mike and I have worked together, like you said, probably about 30 years. I don't think there's been too many people been around the government that I work with for probably the 42 years that I've been with. That's the only reason I can keep track of the fact that this is the 41st year of the school intervention contract. Other than that, I probably would have lost track. But I'd just like to say that, but before I give a report, I've been really enlightened by the conversations that are going on here tonight. I don't have children in the schools. I've not kept up with it. I've learned a lot tonight. I would imagine that these conversations are going on all around the country. I don't think it's just happening in South Carolina or just in Summerville, South Carolina. The issues that we face in our counseling center are very similar, but on a much smaller scale. We fluctuate back and forth between virtual and face-to-face. We know that face-to-face, absolutely, when you're trying to do counseling, you certainly want to be face-to-face. Sometimes that's not possible, so we have to have the option for safety. We had 4 people just last week test positive for COVID, and we've got 3 more pending. So those are things you have to take very seriously. By the way, I was tested. I got my results back Saturday, and I'm negative. So, the school intervention program, I'd just like to say a word. I think this is a great school district, and I think it's great that you can have an openness where you can debate and discuss which side of the coin you want to fall on. It's an extremely difficult decision. I can certainly see issues on both sides. But my work with the school district has been going on, like I say, for 42 years, and 41 of those with the SKIP program. And my colleagues, of course, I know them all. I've been around more than most of them around the state. We have 32 alcohol and drug commissions serving the 46 counties. And there is no other school district that keeps the SKIP contract. That's been lost years ago. The school might make referrals informally or not through a SKIP school intervention program to the Alcohol and Drug Commission, but it's not formalized, it's not kept up with. So I remember I was around when we talked with the school board back then about the way that we're going to do it a little bit differently. And they embraced it, they endorsed it, and it's been accepted. So I just want to say thank you for your school board. You all have, at least in the eyes of what we work with, have done better than anybody else in the state. So I am really, really pleased and really happy to be and coming here 41 years to work with you all. It's just been a privilege and a pleasure, and I appreciate it. The referrals are still coming in. Certainly they're less than normal because everything has been condensed because of the circumstances that we face. But the School Intervention Advisory Board still is functioning, and that is one of the best things that happens, where we have the school administrators, guidance counselors meeting with our staff to give feedback and input to the board and to me about where we should go from here. So I presented you, Ms. Robinson, with the contract, and I don't know if you all need to vote on it now, or
Sure.
if there's anything, if you have any questions of me, that's about all I had to say.
Are there any questions?
Sammy, thank you for being here. That's really loud tonight for some reason. I missed my time on the advisory committee.
Well, we
Who's on the
appreciate-
advisory committee right now? Do we have anybody? Yeah, so maybe are you guys meeting virtually for Skip? Okay. At some point, if you're willing to maybe relinquish that, I'd be willing to look at it again.
It's a wonderful opportunity.
And I'll tell you, and I know all of our administrators and folks in the district probably know what that Skip program is about, but alcohol, drug abuse, as well as the mental health counseling, and again, from a board member's perspective, being part of that advisory council is very eye-opening to see some of the issues that filter up to your level, and how the care that we're able to partner with you guys and provide. Tell me quickly, because we were talking about just before the board meeting, your referrals this year are way down, I have to assume.
Way down. And I don't want to take up much more time, but you and I, Justin, were talking before we came in. We have moved, and the county has housed us for years in the county services building for all those years, and we recently just moved. And I joke with them, I think they were so envious of our space that they may have moved us out a little bit too quickly, because we had a real big DHEC punch list that we had to get through. So part of the reason we haven't been able to see clients besides COVID face-to-face is because we had to get our DHEC license. And it took almost 3 months, and that's a long time to wait. So we couldn't have anybody in the building other than staff before we could get DHEC to approve. If you understand, if you've dealt with DHEC and you understand about new facilities and building and the process you have to go through. And I joke with Jason Ward and Daniel Prentice with the county that they must have really wanted our office space bad, because we probably should have waited about 2 months before we moved out. But so we have moved to, we're right at 320 Midland Parkway. It used to be Architects and Engineers, Giant Cement used to be there. It's kind of right across the from the Somerville Medical Center there. But so we are there. We did a ribbon cutting in the county. There's been a little exposure, but I just want to mention to you. So we've had a little, besides COVID, we've had some complications, and virtual has had to be the way to go, because we couldn't have people in the building until just recently with our DHEC license. But when we can do that, we look forward to inviting all of you to come over and join us in a beautiful facility. It's really, really nice. The county was great to us, I have to say that.
Good. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would love to pick you up on that invite and attend anytime we're able to in the near future. But at this time, as we do annually, we need to make a motion to continue our contract with Skip. Motion made by Mr. Farnsworth. Do I have a second? By Ms. Hughes. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. And it is unanimous. Thank you again, and we will sign this contract and get it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, it is now time for our superintendent's report, and I don't know if he's calling in or if someone will be doing it in his behalf. Okay. Miss Lori?
I'm not doing it in his behalf, but he is not calling in this evening. He sends his regrets that he cannot participate this evening, but he is viewing the live stream and listening on live stream, and I am assuming that Mr. Jason Walsh is going to do the presentation, the unveiling tonight.
Yay, okay.
Good evening. My name is Jason Walsh. I'm the new Fine Arts Director here in DD2. It's nice to meet all of you. Each year in Dorchester School District 2, they have a tradition where they have a holiday card that represents the district, and we invite students to present their artwork, and that artwork is chosen, and then it is revealed at a school board meeting. Tonight we'll be doing that. The first student we'd like to invite up to do that is Miss Scarlett Sweeney, and we'd invite her, her parents, Patrick and Ashley Sweeney, and their principal, Miss Renee Harris. Go ahead, you got something. Go ahead. Miss Scarlett is in the first grade now at Beach Hill Elementary School, and she created a piece of art entitled Winter Wonderland. And it is a mixed media piece. Her principal is Miss Renee Harris, and we're so proud of them. And her art teacher's name is Letitia Hewitt.
She's unveiling it right now.
There it is. Yeah, it's also shown on the screen if you'd like to see it there.
So nice, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Scarlett. Lovely picture. The next student we'd like to invite up is from Oak Brook Middle School. Her name is Sydney Williams. Her parents are Quentin and Nia Williams, and also their principal, Mr. Matt Legree. They're on their way up. Right. Her piece is entitled Winter's Clearing, and it's actually drawn with colored pencils. It's right over here. She is in the 7th grade at Oak Brook Middle School, and again, her piece is entitled Winter's Clearing. She drew this with colored pencils. It's amazing.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sydney. And her art teacher at her school's name's Deborah Judy. We're so thankful for you and all that you've done. And thank you for the beautiful artwork. Mom's got to get a picture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, yeah. Children just bring a special spirit into the room. We thank you and congratulations. Is that everything with our superintendent's report for this evening? Okay, thank you. In our personnel report, it's in your packets if you're okay with doing that in open session. We need to make a motion to accept the resignations and recommendations for 2020 and 2021. Okay, Ms. Crosby made the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Mitchum, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. It is unanimous. Thank you. Under unfinished business, board workshop update, the district leadership team. There was a meeting that we had that, okay, Ms. Estep is going to present to that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening, board members. This evening, as I said earlier, Mr. Pye is not going to be able to come on and speak. He did meet with us earlier today, and again, due to his diagnosis, he's chosen to just listen in tonight. So, during last week's 3-hour board workshop, our district team shared information and current data on several topics to help us make the best decisions for our students and our staff. We reviewed coronavirus data at the state, county, district, and school levels. We showed survey results from teachers and school leadership teams, as well as district substitute information. Finally, we shared our 4-phase model for transitioning our schools to full face-to-face for the full face-to-face model and the processes and logistics that would be involved with moving forward. The board asked several questions and requested more data, which we have already provided or are still working on. Additionally, we had a guest speaker, Dr. Lee Biggs, who presented statistics and information from the medical side for consideration. Our focus last week was to make available the facts and pertinent information. As a result, a lot of discussion took place. At the conclusion of the workshop, it was evident the majority of teachers and administrators did not feel comfortable returning face-to-face in the current state. We also realize all students learn differently, and while the hybrid, virtual, or face-to-face models may work for some students, there is definitely not a one-size-fits-all model. However, our DD2 team is dedicated to the success of our students, and we will continue closely monitoring students' assessments, progress, and grades in order to provide interventions for any students who need extra assistance to be successful. As a reminder, the video from last week, the video recording of the board workshop, is available on the district's website for anyone who would like to review. At this time, based on all of the data we have, and with our current numbers continuing to rise at very high levels, it is the district's recommendation for all students to return January 4th on the e-learning school-based model for 2 weeks through January 18th. This includes our students with disabilities. The virtual academy students would continue on their current virtual schedule. Our anticipated return to the hybrid model would be January 19th, based on the disease activity at that time, and would continue through the end of first semester, which is February 1st. Our sincere hope and target date for transitioning to the full face-to-face instructional model would be February 2nd, provided the disease activity has returned to a low incidence. I'll now turn the meeting back over to Ms. Robinson to discuss the tabled motion from November 23rd regarding the January 4th return. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eastep. I do want everyone who is listening, because we have said this before, many of the board members have said this before, the board does not vote on what the district leadership decides to do as far as whether this is what we expect them to do. We have always, up until this last board meeting, have always voted to support what our district leadership has done. We receive emails constantly by the dozens and dozens saying, why isn't the board doing this? Why isn't the board doing this? But in our policies, the board hires the superintendent to manage the day-to-day operations of this school. We have a good superintendent and we have excellent district leadership, and we do not, I repeat, we do not as a board make the decision to go back to school or to go hybrid or to go virtual. That isn't in our realm of authority. We say that over and over again, not as an excuse, but as a fact. We do trust the leadership. We may not always like it, but we trust it. I know there was a time when Ms. Hughes asked, if it is safe, could we get back face-to-face by October 19th? The caveat was if it is safe, but she did give a date. She realized that wasn't going to happen. The first time that anyone has ever overridden a superintendent, and you can, the board has that prerogative per our policy to override a superintendent if we think it's wrong, was at the last board meeting when a member did make a motion and it was seconded, and then after discussion it was tabled. And at this time we do need to bring that motion back as it was tabled. So at this time I would like to turn it over to Ms. Crosby to see how she would like to follow through.
Well, to be honest, I didn't see that one coming, that we were going back to e-learning. But
Apologies, just a point of parliamentary procedure. I would make a motion to bring the motion from November 23rd off of the table to be discussed at this meeting.
Okay, please do
second that
that.
motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
That's just to discuss that motion.
You want me to go ahead? I do want to rescind that motion because of the fact that Mr. Pye is not here, and I know that he's been trying to be in contact to keep up with what's abreast and what's going on. But without him being here and being able to face-to-face and give us his well, I think that you're giving him his, I don't mean to undermine you, I'm not saying that. But I just feel like in all fairness that Mr. Pye should be here. And I was going to rescind that motion, and then when we come back in January, we would address it. Like I said, I didn't see the e-learning coming, but I will rescind that this time.
Apologies for all the parliamentary procedure. I would just say if you want to make a motion to rescind that motion, that motion is the board's now, so you can't rescind it on your own.
You would like to do that for me?
Sounds like you would like to do that.
I just said it, Justin. I rescind the motion.
You have to make a motion to rescind your motion.
He's our legislative chairman. He knows these things. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to rescind that motion.
Okay?
I'll second.
Okay. I think Ashley caught you first. Ashley seconded that motion. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just not ready. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not there. The numbers are rising. Is it a good situation? No, nobody wants to be here. But what I do want to speak to tonight, and I'm hearing it more and more from the community, and I'm hearing it from our educators, and what's really, it enrages me to my core that our educators, who are the backbone of our district, feel attacked. They feel like they're not supported. And not only just from their community, I've heard from their very own board, I think there are certain board members that have put it in our educators' minds that they don't feel supported. So I want to go on the record and make it very, very, very clear. I 100% support teachers, 100% support educators in our district. And what we said earlier, there may be one or two bad actors on our board that you feel do not support you educators. I can't apologize for them. But what I will say is I support you, and I want you to know that no matter what, we will make this a safe situation, and I need you to understand that your board has your back. Because right now, I don't know that our educators feel that way. Your board as a whole has your back. Please, educators, I need you, our teachers, our administrators, I need you to know that, because the divide that is happening right now within our district is going to have repercussions that last for years if it is not fixed right now. Thank you.
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the teachers coming out tonight and speaking and letting us hear face-to-face from you, because that means so much to us to hear that. Because you're right, we have heard voices from the other side, but we've not heard from the teachers. And we know that this district is not a district without you guys. Without you guys, without our school bus, our transportation people, without our custodial workers, without our superintendent, without all of the administrative staff. We're just up here listening and gaining our information from you guys. So if we don't have you come in and talk to us and tell us, then we don't know these things. So it means a lot to me, and to me, we all agree with you. We all want to go back face to face. We feel that's the best way the majority of our kids learn, and we know that that's the way to go. But we cannot do it as long as we are not safe, with numbers climbing, with, we have to worry about our students. We have to worry about our teachers. We have to worry about everybody they come in contact with. And we have to worry about what they take home to our community, to our elderly, and to people that they just pass walking down the street. This thing is crazy, and we don't know how to handle it. So therefore, we have got to err on the side of safety, and that means do whatever we have to do to keep every one of you safe. And know, you guys that are sitting out there tonight are the backbone of this district, and without you, we could not make it. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I will echo what Justin said. And I think the majority of these board members that are sitting up here on this board, if not all of these board members, actually do support our teachers, each in their own individual way, but they support our teachers. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add, I think every single board member, in their own way, does support. Maybe they don't agree, but they do support. And I do want you to know that at this moment in time, the emails have changed. They've taken a different direction that we're getting. And now where it was face-to-face or hybrid, 50-50, well, sometimes it was 45-50, 50-50. And we do talk about our emails to each other because it strengthens us to know what we're hearing. Now it is a third, a third, a third. We're getting a third that want hybrid and a third that want the face-to-face and a third that want virtual. So there is no right answer. And again, this isn't the board's decision, but we do support what our leadership is asking us to do. And I hope that we still want to hear from you, but please know the school board does not make this decision if you go back and how you go back. We make a lot of other decisions, but this is not one of them. Does anybody else have anything they would like to say?
Yeah, I would like to commend all of those folks, either side, that come and take their time out to come and speak to us. We hear you, we read your emails, we understand that each situation for each family is different, but we have to do a 50,000-foot high assessment of Dorchester District 2. So what may not work specifically for your situation, your family, works for the district, and that's what we have to base our decisions on, is a district-wide return to school, return to hybrid, go back to e-learning. And so I would like to also commend Justin and Gail and Tanya for speaking thoughts that I already had, so I don't want to be repetitive and go on, but at the same time, you know, we take the information that we get from district staff very seriously. We ask a lot of questions. They are very good about replying to us with the information that we need, and that helps us make a determination. Yes, Mr. Pye and his staff have a great deal to do with the decisions that they bring to us, but we do have override authority, but it's hard to say with the facts that are happening now, it's hard to override their recommendation and their decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ashley?
Thank you. I would just like to say that I also support our teachers. I think that anyone who knows me would say that about me, and I'd like to address my desire to put our children back in school full-time face-to-face. That we all know that is the best thing, and I know that we all want that. So when I asked questions and asked for data and information, that is only because I feel that is our responsibility. That's what I was elected to do, and so I think doing my due diligence is a huge part of what I owe to not only our students, but also our teachers, our families, and this entire community. And that is why I did that, and I certainly appreciate all the great information, all the time that went into the presentation, and I am thankful for that because the data was very thorough, and I'm grateful for it. And again, asking questions and looking for information is certainly not being unsupportive of anyone in this district, and that is something I will continue to do, and I will continue to listen to everyone who reaches out to me, I know that the people who have done that can vouch for the fact that I will listen. That's one promise that I can make. You know, again, it doesn't mean you can always agree or do anything about it, but I certainly will listen. I certainly will ask questions and continue to try to gather information and follow the data that we're given. So.
Thank you. Ms. Crosby?
I was a teacher for 30 years. Anybody that says that I don't support teachers, it's not true. So everybody on this board supports teachers. Because of what I might say or my opinion does not mean I don't support them. That's my opinion. I appreciate what Ashley has the doctor come in and give us all that thorough information. That's why we make decisions on lots of things, programs or whatever goes on in the district. That's what we do, is we hear about them. It's been so long now with all, we haven't heard anything that's between COVID and everything else that's been going on. We haven't been able to get into education. But I do support all teachers. Do you hear? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we don't need to approve that, so we'll just move.
Can I say one more thing?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say one more thing. Like Tanya was saying, we don't necessarily vote on the plan that the district is bringing us. But I would just like to say that I discussed with Dr. Biggs, who was here the other night, and although he's not giving a recommendation, but I did discuss with him the idea of our district returning to e-learning. And just to address that, there is actually data behind that that I believe will help us get back to full-time face-to-face learning sooner. With the holidays, there is a great chance afterwards we will see spikes in our community because of people traveling, gathering with families, having parties, socializing, that sort of thing. And so if we were to return immediately to school after the holidays, I think that we would see an increase in our schools because of what people have done. And as a result, I think it would be detrimental to our goal of getting back full-time face-to-face sooner rather than later. And so I think this sort of forced quarantine, if you want to call it that, is going to be very good for us because it will help alleviate that keep our cases down, and so that when we do return, we will be safer. And again, I think thinking long-term, even though that is not what a lot of people want, I know and I understand that, but thinking long-term, I think this is going to be the best thing, the safest thing, and will move us closer to our goal of being back full-time face-to-face, and that, of course, is what we all want. So I think there's good reason for that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for that information. Now, there are two things going on here. We got off a little bit. Legislative chair didn't pull me in. If you choose to support, we do not approve the plan for when we come back. But if you would like to support that plan, we need to have a motion. And we also need to also finish the motion that we have rescinded the motion from last meeting. Is that correct? Okay, let's do that one first. And we've already had a motion and a second. We've already had a discussion. So all those in favor, please raise your hand. And it's unanimous. Thank you. Now, if the board would like to support what the district has offered as information coming back to school in January, I need to hear a motion. Thank you. Mr. Mitchell made that motion in support, and Gail seconded it. Is there any more discussion?
There was, and it's interesting because we've gotten all the feedback. I certainly do. I support that recommendation. I think we saw Berkeley County do something very similar with their virtual days in order to hopefully quarantine. I hope folks in the district will take that seriously I know that's tough. Everybody's over COVID and ready to move on, and we're tired of it and we're ready to move on, but hopefully this will get us to a point that will be closer to full-time, face-to-face. One thing I heard a lot from our educators, our administrators, and our teachers when it was brought up to move forward with full-time, face-to-face January 4th, I think what folks forget sometimes is there is, as Mr. Mitchum said earlier, the 50,000-foot view, and that's difficult to remember the moving pieces. One of the things I've heard lately is if someone has a virtual academy student, they shouldn't be a part of this discussion. It's a shame because, somebody in virtual academy, we very specifically kept our students in virtual academy in Dorchester District 2 so they would still have a voice. And furthermore, I would argue that when we go back full-time face-to-face, if we have shifts in classes and students and we're moving them around and we have to then move teachers around, maybe Ms. Estep, I don't know if Dr. Harrison is here, would you guys agree with me that's going to cause a fairly large shift in our virtual academy? They're shaking their heads yes. So the argument that somebody who has kids in virtual academy doesn't have a say in all of this doesn't really hold muster. So again, I was concerned when we as a board were pushing the agenda forward to get back face-to-face shortly after the break. So I'm pleased that the district is able to make the recommendation. And again, I think it's a safe recommendation after hearing what the doctor said the other night, keeping safety and health and all that stuff in mind. So I do think it's a good recommendation. So again, I will support that recommendation.
Okay. All those in favor, would you raise your hand? It is unanimous. Thank you.
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barbara. I guess the point said, okay. All those opposed, raise your hand. All right. So it is 6, 4, and 1 opposed. Thank you. We will now move forward to other business, and it is with great pleasure that I'd like to announce tonight that at the School Board Association meeting this past month, there were an election, as it is annually, and Ms. Gail Hughes has been elected to the State Board Executive Committee as the State Secretary Treasurer. So this is a first that we've had in a long time. And there she is up there. So congratulations. Make us proud. Okay. Miss, yes? Miss Crosby? Yes?
Just want to explain one reason I didn't vote is because, like I said, the E thing was kind of thrown on me. I was totally thrown out by that.
It's okay.
And I
Thank
just want
you.
you to understand why.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to move ahead with the South Carolina School Board Legislative Delegate and Advocacy Conference. And because of the COVID, Ms. Hughes was the only one that got to go in person. So we're going to turn the time over to her just to give a little brief report. However, a lot of us watched virtually.
There wasn't a whole lot that actually went on. This was a pretty simple one, and the reason why this one basically was held because this is the big business meeting where policies are adjusted and looked at, and we had a lot of policies that were renewed, but they were renewed for just little small words being added or taken out. So this actually the business meeting there wasn't a whole lot that went on at the business meeting, but I think a lot of us probably tuned in the day before for the advocacy, actually a conference, and I don't know, maybe some people have some things they'd like to add about that, but as far as the delegate assembly, there wasn't a lot that went on with that, with the exception of the elections and the renewal of the policies.
The thing I noticed, and I know teachers need to hear this, is there was a panel where they had senators and representatives of both parties, and they basically said there were not going to be raises this year because of the economic depravity we have because of COVID. And I think to Somerville, just the Azalea Festival, not having that and the tax base that helps bring in. So they want to try to, and they may even do it in increments each year, but that's something that made me feel bad, but I was not surprised about. Did anybody else have anything that attended? Nope. Okay. All right, then we'll move on. Thank you for that report. And we do have a few public comments that we're going to hear. I think there's only 3. So the first one is Mr. Ken Greenstreet.
Welcome to the school board. Get some thick skin. Have you ever worked really hard to lose weight and accomplish your goal, only to learn that the really tough part is not losing the weight, but keeping the weight off for the rest of your life? When it comes to freedom, 2 of my favorite quotes are, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction, and the price of freedom is eternal vigilance." I recently learned at the dinner table that my daughter, a 9th grader at Ashley Ridge, did not know where Kenya is. 2 weeks prior to that, she received a world geography assignment to pretend she was a campaign manager for a presidential candidate. She was given a website as an aid in picking which person she most closely aligned with, based on typical hot-button topics such as Affordable Health Care Act or Obamacare. My daughter was 5 years old when that was signed into law. Another question was how she felt about transgender rights. The whole time my mind was thinking, what does this have to do with geography? If you want to teach political subjects, then put them in a political science class. I reviewed the DD2 course guide for a description of world geography. There are a lot of big words and terms in the description, including critical thinking and spatial thinking, but my daughter still did not know where Kenya was before that dinner. December 7th just passed. Do you think what happened on that day in 1941 may have been discussed in an 11th grade AP U.S. history class at Ashley Ridge High School? Not one word. Nothing. At least not my son's class. I point these out because I think some of the educational focus in American schools is a little off-center. Let me remind you of some communist goals for America as stated in the 1950s. Get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, put the party line in textbooks. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principles of separation of church and state. Discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. That's from the 50s. I can't do anything about the decline of American morals other than teach my children that they have responsibilities to their God, their family, and their country, and not just themselves. I can also come before you and point out that the communist goals that are coming to fruition 70 years later. Kids need heroes in their lives, academic, civil rights, military, religious, or medical heroes. We need to continue to teach each generation what makes America, America. We need to teach the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Walker.
Seems every time I talk, I start with hey y'all, so good evening board and hey y'all. As a 27-year seasoned teacher, I respect and appreciate the positions, concerns, and passion exhibited by all vested parties. As a biologist, I have clear understanding of the virulent nature and potential impact to demographic groups. As I embrace every voice always, and during this global pandemic, there is only one word that continues to resonate with every heartfelt articulation. That word is trust. I recognize a potential to lose this most valuable commodity of our community if we elect to work against one another. A school community fails to realize success when there's a loss of trust. This community has trusted teachers and administrators to educate students, to keep them safe, to mentor them, to provide individual plans, attention, and social and emotional support. In turn, teachers have sought the support of families and the community in our mutual mission to have all students realizing and excelling in a 21st century world. Welcome to the 21st century. Dorchester, too, has excelled as a direct result of this mutual trust. I am speaking only to reiterate the importance of trust and confidence steeped in honesty and transparency that must be satiated in every decision as it affects our students. They are our mission.
Thank you very much. And our last one is Ms. Amber Hotelling.
Good evening. I literally have 10 different speeches here in front of me because I wasn't really sure which direction I wanted to go. 3,600 people have signed a petition asking for Ms. Crosby's immediate resignation. On social media, she told me to shut up or I would be in deep you-know-what. She told me, if you are going to keep on with your remarks about me, then you may soon find yourself in deep. Don't keep pushing me. I do have a point of no return for folks like you. This was said to me on a public forum as a Dorchester 2 parent. She is in direct control of my child's education. How am I supposed to take that? I took it as a threat. We've heard from a lot of teachers. We've only heard from a few parents. And there's a reason parents aren't speaking up. And that comment is why. Doesn't bother me. I have broad shoulders. I can take it. I do want to tell you what some students have told me, or one student has told me. A very well-written young lady, whose name I will not read for their privacy. As a student of Dorchester 2 and a teenager who has always been interested in politics and government, I am both embarrassed and appalled that an elected official who is supposed to be a role model was so unprofessional in her post. This district is so extremely adamant on preventing bullying. How are kids supposed to learn when a school board member is bullying the parents in the district? Barbara Crosby is in a position of power and influence. She is trying to explain her actions by saying that only one side of the argument, the side that agrees with her, are respected citizens who can have an opinion. To put it plainly,
Ma'am, we don't want you to call out names, okay? Thank you.
To put it plainly, she stated that if we do not agree with her, we are not allowed to have an opinion of our own. At least 36,000 parents, teachers, and community members have signed a petition asking for her resignation. We've now heard from the students as well. They're the voice we need to be listening to, not teachers, not parents. Students like this one, who clearly are learning all they can from our fantastic district. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to, at this time, before we close the meeting, wish Mr. Pye a happy belated birthday because he wasn't here for us to get to do that, and we will spare him the board singing to him. But we do wish, and we are so sorry he has to spend his birthday week being sick. We also want to wish him the very best. We missed having him here tonight, his strength and his stability. And it is, as the year ends, I would like to say it's been an honor being the chairman again this year. And it has been a trial and a challenge for everybody in this room. And may God bless us all during this holiday season. We need it, and we need to be there for our children. And at this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Evan Guthrie, a second. Ashley, all those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you for coming.
It was warm when I left the house. It's just
Thank
a little bit of chewy cake.
Thank you.